Well everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the iPhone 14 and the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE and see which specific phone is a better one for you. Now if you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now starting off with the exterior and the outside of both these phones, these are very interesting devices because they are kind of attacking two different demographics but kind of the same ones too. So the Galaxy S21 FE that came out a little bit earlier this year is somewhat of a budget phone, but it's also somewhat of a flagship. It's like in the middle of both these phones. It's almost like an SE lineup, but if Apple did it right. They took at the exterior like a beautiful 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display on the S21 FE. It's a 1080p panel, dynamic AMOLED display, and it's a 120Hz panel. Now I think it's a great panel for sure. When I compare it to something like the 14, it obviously looks a little bit different, and that's definitely going for it in its favor. I think this panel has the fingerprint sensor in the display, which is really nice, and it is a very good display. It's not perfect, I would say. The S22 Ultra, that's like a perfect display. The 14 Pro Max, I think, is a perfect display. And this one is good enough for the most part, and I actually do think for its price tag, it's actually really, really good. Now on the iPhone 14, on the other hand, we have a little bit of a smaller 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel. Now this is a 60Hz panel, so it is not 120Hz, so please keep that in mind. And it's still a smooth display though. Like it seems like it's higher than 60Hz because the operating system is so smooth. So that is actually a really big advantage. However, the smoother display does go for the S21 FE here, and I would probably say it has the better panel. I mean, you don't have a notch on the S21 FE, you have less bezel overall, and that is a really big advantage for that phone, and it has a fingerprint sensor display and a 120Hz panel. Definitely the S21 FE has a better panel. On the bottom, USB-C port on the S21 FE, the iPhone 14 has a lightning port, and on the back, we have actually some ways that favors the 14. We have a full-on glass back on the iPhone 14, which feels very premium. It's been like this for since the iPhone's inception, and it's been a really cool experience having these type of premium feeling phones at a consistent price tag. Maybe that's the best way to put it. And we have a dual camera setup there. With the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE actually has a plastic back on this phone. Now, I'm not a fan of these plastic backs, but it is the cheaper lineup. It is a cheaper phone, so it makes sense why Samsung has done it. They have to cut corners, and if this phone was $1,000 phone, that'd be different. But I've seen these things go for like around $300 something, less than $400 right now. So that may make a little bit more sense of why the S21 FE might be a better deal because it is so much cheaper. But you are getting a plastic back, which doesn't really help it too much. Now we have wireless charging on both these phones, but we do have reverse wireless charging on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE, which is so awesome. Being able to charge other devices, your Galaxy Buds, your watch, just from your phone is so awesome, and I have no idea why Apple still hasn't implemented this on their iPhones yet. Now moving on to the actual, probably a really big portion of these phones is with the cameras. Now the S21 FE has that triple camera setup on the back. It has a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, 8 megapixel telephoto lens, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor, where the iPhone 14 has a dual camera setup, a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Now this is a very interesting comparison because both of these share a lot of similarities. They both have dual cameras. The S21 FE has a telephoto lens too, so triple camera setup there. 4K at 60 on the front and the back. However, the iPhone I think has the overall better camera, but the S21 FE has the better camera experience. So with the iPhone 14, you are getting really good quality lenses, right? From the 13 to the 14, there wasn't that big of a difference, but the 14 has a really good camera. I mean, you're getting action mode, which is like stabilized video. You're getting cinematic mode, which is really cool. Portrait mode that's been enhanced. Like you were getting a very good quality lens. And within applications like Snapchat, Instagram, whatever other TikTok, you are getting a very good camera experience, which I love seeing. With the S21 FE, in those applications like Snapchat, whatever, they may not give you the best quality, but within the stock camera app, within these, Samsungs, they just throw in so many features it's not even funny. If you're comparing a S21 FE camera to something like an iPhone 14 camera, you're getting way more features inside of an S21 FE camera. It's crazy. In fact, if you probably compare a Galaxy S8 camera to the iPhone 14, you're probably getting more features than the S8 camera. And I say the same thing about Pixels too. Pixels and iPhones, they just don't put too many camera features. They improve camera quality, but I wish we had more features overall. And with the S21 FE, we have a ton of features built into the camera. So I'll say the camera quality quality and the videos and everything are going to look better on the iPhone 14, but the camera experience is probably better on the FE. So that's kind of how I'd sum it up there. Now, in terms of the longevity of both these phones, when we're talking about how long these phones are going to last, you have to keep in mind Apple has notoriously been one of the companies to prolong the life of their phones for many, many years, which is always good to see. On the FE, on like the Android side, it's never really been that great, but with Samsung, it's probably been the worst. But for the last 2 years, they have been improving their software longevity like crazy. And honestly, I'm more optimistic about Samsung increasing their longevity than Apple increasing their longevity, to be honest, for their devices. So I will say the iPhone 14 is going to outlast the S21 FE, but you have to keep in mind the FE has the same chipset internally as the Samsung Galaxy S21 from last year. So it's already kind of a year old as of this point, and then it's already like it can be another like year old from last year's S21. So it's going to be like about a year and a half old. So you have to like, even though it came out this year, you have to put it in terms of the S21 from last year. So it's probably going to get like another 2-3 versions of software, and then it's probably going to end off there. But that's still a long time. But the iPhone 14 is definitely going to outlast the S21 FE for sure. So in terms of that covers it up there. Now in terms of performance, the iPhone 14 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 GB of RAM, where the S21 FE has that Snapdragon 888 chipset inside of it with 6 GB of RAM on the base models, and it does go up to 8 GB of RAM. Now this is what I'm going to tell you about the S21 FE. I think it's a great performing phone for the cost and for the price. You know, they didn't put a watered down chipset in this phone. It's the same chipset as last year with the S21. It's not a big ginormous deal, but you know, we do have like the new 8 Gen 1 and the 8 Plus Gen 1 chipsets, which are so cool. So I like those chipsets a lot. I think with this one, it's not a big deal. You know, it's still a flagship chipset from 2 years ago, and that is still a really good performing chipset too. So it's not really that big of a deal if I'm being honest. With the iPhone 14, this one has the same chipset as the iPhone 13 from last year. So this is why things are so interesting. They're kind of the same type of phone. Recycling things from last year and putting into the new one. It's almost like if the iPhone 14 and iPhone SE had a baby, that would be like an S21 FE in a way for Android. Now with the iPhone 14 and with the FE, very good performance between both. I feel like the FE is great performance, but it is feeling like a little bit more of a glitchy experience. And what I mean by that is, even though it has 120 Hz, things can feel not as smooth as on iOS, but that is more with like an operating system thing. It's not really with the performance of the phone. That 88 chipset is still very good, and I think it's a very good performing phone. I've tested this phone for every Samsung FE since the S20 FE to this one. It's been a great experience. With the iPhone 14, I think this is also a very good performing phone too. You know, this is still one of the best performing phones right now, but for the price tag that it is, I feel like Apple could have done a little bit of a better job in my opinion, but I don't think it's that big of a difference here where you'd go from one phone to the other just based off the performance. So in terms of that kind of covers it up here. Now in terms of the battery lives, you're getting a 4,500 mAh battery on the FE, where you're getting a 3,279 mAh battery on the iPhone 14. Now, I've had pretty good battery life for my iPhone 14. I've had pretty good battery life for my FE as well. I don't know if it's like a ginormous difference I'd go from one to the other just because of battery life, but I may add with the reverse wireless charging the FE has, that is a really nice touch, and I'm really happy Samsung threw that into that phone. So to kind of wrap up this comparison, I will tell you between both phones, I don't think there's like a clear winner. You know, I feel like the FE is more of a flagship than the iPhone 14 is. Some advantages there, you're getting that triple camera setup, reverse wireless charging. I think you're getting Samsung DeX on the phone too, ProMotion display, hole punch display, fingerprint sensor display. There's a lot of features there for sure. But the iPhone 14 is, I would say, a smoother experience overall. You're getting still a pretty decent display. You're getting better build quality with that glass on the back, which is nice. And you're getting probably a longer lasting phone on this phone as well. And you're getting that Apple ecosystem, which is cool as well. So I don't think there's like a clear winner here. The iPhone 14 is more expensive, but it's not like, oh, that is a way better phone. These things go like neck and neck. And I think the FE is probably a better deal if you can get it for less than $400. If not, if you like Apple, then go for the iPhone 14. But I don't really think there's like a clear 100% winner here. I'm more surprised with the FE than I am with the iPhone 14. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More important than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.